Um, our expectations will always be a Sun Belt championship. I feel like as a competitor and as a group of competitors, you can't go into a season not expecting the main prize. So I feel like if we were trying to settle for anything less, it would be selling ourselves down. So our goals for this year would definitely be to win the Sun Belt Conference championship.
2016 schedule. You guys got 12 games on it. What's the game you're looking forward to the most?
Right now, Ball State's first one. It's the opportunity that we're working for right now. So Ball State is the game that we're really looking forward to as of right now.
All right, appreciate it, man.
Thank you.
Okay, Robert. After last year's season, just kind of what are your personal expectations for the team this year, and just as a whole, what kind of expectations do you guys talk about?
As a team, we always say that we want to be Sun Belt champions. I feel like as a competitor and as a group of competitors, you can't go into a season not expecting the main goal. And the main goal in this conference is the Sun Belt championship. So we feel like we'll be selling ourselves short if that's not what our goal was going into the season.
And just how close? I mean, you guys kind of seem right there on the brink last season. Just what things need to improve to maybe get a couple more conference wins and things like that.
I mean, just starting fast. You know, we've had a couple of games where we come out and we put ourselves in a hole early, turnovers or whatever that may be. So just making sure that we start fast and finish strong. Our fourth quarter is a quarter that we don't really excel in. So those are our main focal points, and that's what Coach Miles has always preached us: is to start fast and finish strong. So those are the things that we really want to improve on this season to get more wins.
What would you say is the strength returning, just overall team wise? What are the returning strengths?
I mean, veterans. We have a lot of guys that have played a lot of football. So, I mean, I don't want to single out either anything on the offense or the defense, but besides the fact that we just have a lot of guys that know what it's like to win, because the winning streak that we had last season, we're returning a lot of starters from that group. So, just leadership and veterans is one thing that is really going to be important for us this season.
It just seems like with the Sun Belt, there's kind of it's such a close race at the top of the conference. Just what will it take to edge out, just the App States and the Arkansas States, just, and be right there with them? Just kind of how competitive is the top tier of that conference?
Oh, I mean, it's very competitive because you have a lot of great players in this conference. So, like you said, there's always going to be teams that are really close to each other at the top. And, I mean, I feel like our leadership is one thing that can really take us to that next level as far as winning those games against the great teams like App State, Georgia Southern, and, all the teams in the conference. I mean, you see every week the game, it's never really like a blowout. It's always the games that come down to the fourth quarter, and in the fourth quarter, it depends on, leadership, encouraging guys, telling guys that, this is the time that we have to really step up and make plays. So, I mean, I think that'd be the big thing would be leadership in this conference.
Who or what stood out the most in spring ball?
Um, I would definitely have to say, the quarterbacks because, Nick Arbuckle, the Sun Belt Offensive Player of the Year, I mean, he's not there anymore. So the quarterback battle was really, one to see. As you have Connor Manning, Aaron Winchester, Emir Scape, all those guys are battling for a spot. And that's good for the program because, competition is what, makes teams better. So that's one thing that I can say was something that you could have watched in spring ball and something to watch going on into camp and into the season.
When there is a quarterback competition, just how more important does senior leadership become, and just older veterans, like you said, just how much does that kind of amplify if you have a new quarterback?
It's a lot because at the end of the day, whoever the quarterback is, everybody has to be comfortable with that guy. So as a senior and as a leader in myself, I make sure that guys are, going out there catching passes from all the quarterbacks, so that we can build that relationship and have that connection going into the season.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you. How you doing? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, really, it's one, coaching. Coach Lapano, I mean, he's a great coach, one of the best ones that I've ever had. He's coached guys like Calvin Johnson, you know, um, Chad Ochocinco. He's coached great receivers himself. And, another thing that it comes down to is just being competitive. Our receiver room is really competitive, whether that be, who's going to have the best stats one season or who's going to have the most touchdown catches. I mean, we have a really competitive group of guys, and that competition is what really, compels us to be really good players, on the field. About 15. Yeah, coming in as a freshman, that was one thing that I always said that I needed to improve on was my size because I came in at about, 170, and now I'm about 225. And that was one thing that I really had to work on was my size and my strength. So, over breaks and stuff like that, I just made sure I was in the weight room every day, just lifting just to build up that size and strength so I could have all the tools that I needed, to dominate the conference. It just came from, one, being blessed. God blessed me with a great opportunity to come and play football at Georgia State. I feel like I wouldn't have wanted to go anywhere else. And two, it's just, hard work. When you come from a situation where you're not being recruited and all that kind of stuff, it's like that you have to do a whole lot more to get on the same level as the guys that in this conference because it's a conference full of great players. So I realized that at a young age, as far as being a freshman in college, that I may have to do a little bit more than the guy over at a different school because I wasn't recruited. I didn't go to a high school that really breeded receivers. I mean, I went to a triple option high school, threw the ball maybe 4 times a game. So that was just one thing that I realized, early in my career is that I needed to, make sure that I was outworking everybody else that was at my position in order to be a good player in this conference. Thank you. How are you?
So obviously, you and Penny Hart being young, he's young, probably one of the best wide receiver duos in the Sun Belt, if not the best. How do you think you guys are gonna do this year?
I think we'll have a great season. I mean, we've had a really good off season as far as me and him competing against each other. That's one thing that we really pride ourselves on in our receiver room is competition. So I mean, whether that be from who's lifting the most weight, which is obviously going to be me, and or whether that be who's running the fastest, who's coming first in sprints. It's been a really good off season as far as competition. So I think that that'll lead into the season into some success.
So you say it's probably both of your goals to both be on the first team? Sun Belt after the season?
Oh, always. That's always going to be your goal. Like I've said to many other reporters, is if you're not going for the main prize, then you're selling yourself short. You know, if you're not as a team, if we're not aiming for a Sun Belt championship, then what are we aiming for? You know, we don't want to aim for second place. So that's one thing that I feel like, as far as us as a group, we of course we want to be first team all conference. We want to be the best two receivers in the nation. You know, that's the main goal. So, you know, that's our goal as a duo.
And do you feel that you two being so special opens up a running game and other receivers?
Oh, most definitely. Just like Todd Boyd, you know, who's the other receiver who's stepping up this year, is going to open stuff up for us. So, you know, it's always as a team we work together. That's football's a sport where you need all 11 people. So if guys are trying to double team Penny Hart, that opens it up for the run game, and that opens it up for me to go deeper, Todd Boyd. If they're trying to double me, that opens it up for everybody else, and vice versa.
How's it been around campus? You know, obviously last season was really, compared to other seasons before, it was a lot better. And the environment improved and a lot of expectations higher.
Yeah, most definitely. Of course, everybody likes a winner. So, you know, when we're on our win streak, of course, there was, you know, people all around campus telling us how good we were, patting us on the back, but we knew to take that as we just got to keep moving on and worry about what we're doing. So the environment on campus has improved tremendously, and you could tell in our fan production, you know, more fans at games, you know, stuff like that, because like I said, everybody wants to see a winner.
John,
How you doing?
last year the offense was definitely a pass first offense. Now you no longer have Arbuckle. What's the plan moving forward? You're going to shift more run based?
I mean, I feel like with the three quarterbacks that we have competing, there shouldn't be any drop off. Nick Arbuckle, he was a great quarterback. I feel like, I mean, obviously the best in the Sun Belt Conference last year, with him being the Offensive Player of the Year. But I mean, I feel like once we get that connection and everything with all the other quarterbacks, I feel like we'll be firing on all cylinders like last year.
Unlike 2014, you'll actually have some depth at running back, especially. How important has that been for just the offense in general?
Oh, it's been very important. I mean, I feel like it's important to have depth at all positions because, like I said, there was no drop off as far as the quarterback. You know, you have one quarterback. If something unfortunate were to happen to him, you know, next guy up mentality, you know, we shouldn't have a drop off in that position. So I feel like having depth is important at all positions on the field, but especially at the running back position, with that being a position that has a lot of contact, you know, different things to happen. But, you know, if one guy goes down, I feel like the next guy can come in and do just as well as that one.
Last year, the offense definitely, or the entire season, seemed to get better as the year went on, especially in November. What was the driving factor of that?
Trusting each other. That was one thing that we made sure that we talked about every single day, especially when we started that winning streak, was trusting each other. For example, if we go out on the field, Nick Arbuckle had to trust me that I was going to run the route at the exact depth that we were supposed to run it at, and I had to trust that he was going to put the ball in the right spot. So that was one thing that drove us last year, not just as an offense, but as a team. We had to trust each other as a team in all three phases of the game, offense, defense, and special teams. So that was really the driving factor of our turnaround last year, was just becoming closer as a team and trusting each other.
The wide receiving core is extraordinarily deep. How much pressure is being put on the wide receivers to kind of help the new quarterback along?
I mean, we always put pressure on each other regardless of, you know, what quarterback or what's going on at that position. We always put pressure on ourselves just to make sure that we're producing at the level that we know that we should. And our coach, Tim Lopano, he makes sure that he puts pressure on us as well. But, you know, with the new quarterback, you know, I mean, it's easier to be comfortable when you have guys like, you know, Todd Boyd, Penny Hart that you're throwing the ball to when it may be a bad ball, but with the playmakers of their caliber, they can still come down with it. So I feel like that puts that quarterback in more of a comfort zone.
Lastly, how did it feel to beat Southern?
Oh, it felt great. With that being a rivalry game, you know, that felt great. But our main focus was to make it to a bowl game, and fortunately, that was the team that was standing in the way of us making it to that bowl game. So we went into that game with the mentality of, you know, we can't lose. You know, if we want to reach our goals for this season, we can't lose this game. So that was, I mean, with it being our rivals, of course, that was great. But at the end of the day, our main focus was to make it to a bowl game.